Hey guys, want to talk to you a minute about peace. Peace is something that all of us are thinking about in the midst of this coronavirus time that we're in. Here in New Jersey, we're on day 3 of lockdown, and then also have been under restriction for longer than that, and are watching numbers, projections rise all around us, hearing of people that are possibly infected. Probably most of us now know of someone or know someone who knows someone that could be in danger or who has been tested positive. And we're in the middle of trying to find peace, and we're searching pretty hard. And in that way, I don't think this coronavirus, while this is completely new, peace is something that every human being looks for, whether you're a church person or not a church person. Peace is something that every one of us wants more of in our life. And that's not something that we even need a virus to tell us, right? Peace is a longing of the human being. We have the intelligence to understand all the threat that is out there, and part of that intelligence and recognizing that threat is that it's really hard to be calm and at peace inside, because we know all the things that could happen. Was thinking about all the different things that we do, or phrases or cliches we have about peace. We've got Peace Corps, Nobel Peace Prizes, lots of podcasts on inner peace, world peace, peace symbols. What is peace of mind? Right? Peace is something we're all after. It is a never-ending pursuit of the human being. No matter what creed or where you're from, you're a person who's looking for peace. Peace is something personally I'm super bad at. Have always been more of the anxious type, or what you could call me is the creative type. I could always figure out different ways that things could go wrong. So I have that fear imagination that's very native to me. And even as we're talking about God and coronavirus and how does peace fit in, just want to mention something real basic about peace. And whether you're a person who's a church person, not a church person, here's from a church person perspective of where peace comes from in the Christian life. Peace is not something dead. Peace is not something in the Christian life that is inanimate, like a shirt you put on, or a behavior that you have, or a character quality, a personality trait that you are born with or develop through character or discipline. Peace is something in the New Testament is talked about as actually something that's living. It's something that's alive. In Ephesians, the book of Ephesians, Paul writes this: He himself is our peace. And there's this passage after Jesus, who died and rose again in the Gospels, and as he comes to be amongst his disciples, they're trying to figure out what is going on. Is our livelihood gone? Are our own lives under threat? Was Jesus who he said he was? Some people have said he's real. Some people said not. They're in the midst of commotion, right? They're in the midst of doubt, fear, arguing. People have different perspectives. Jesus has died. Some has said he's risen again. They're all clustered together, not knowing what is next. It says Jesus appears to them, and he says these words as Jesus came amongst them. He said, "Peace be with you," which is really cool when you think about it in relations to what it says in Ephesians, that it says that he himself, Christ himself, is our peace, that peace is something living. Peace is Christ entering in. And in the midst of their commotion, by him saying, "Peace be with you," it was, because he was. In the midst of their questions and doubts, and actually in the passage, Jesus doesn't answer all those questions or doubts like he often does in many people's lives. But his presence was the peace that they needed. And Yeah, like I said, whether the Jesus thing is a confusing point to you or maybe a frustrating point to you, or how could there even be a Jesus that could be in control and allow a coronavirus, what I would say is one of the neatest Christian teachings that there is that peace is not something that comes with God. Peace is not something that is just given by God. Peace is actually Him. One of the ways that I understand God's presence in my own life is that when I am with God and really spending time with Him, my heartbeat actually slows down a little bit. It may sound a little weird, but there's this sense of that all is well, all is okay. Now, is that because when I'm in God's presence and I'm with Him that He's told me everything? That He said, oh, everything's going to be fine. Every imaginative worry you've had, I'm going to solve. Nope, has not happened. But it's the sense that He's there. And when He is there, the animated God, He Himself is our peace. And lastly, I just want to say, I'm sorry. I'm sorry for those of you who normally are less anxious and are anxious now. That's a really disorienting feeling. I'm sorry for those of you who are the anxious types like myself, and right now we are facing something we haven't faced before, and so we've got new creations of fears happening and new legitimate concerns that we can imagine and play out in our head. It's a really tough time to be a person in a tough time to find peace. And what I would argue is have no thought on when this is going to end. I do not know when the antidote will come, can come, which medicine, all those things. The only thing I can say from an anxious perspective is that the answers and the solutions, God willing, will come. But even in the midst of the commotion, He can be there. And He Himself can be our peace. And I know, along with other pastors on here and people that you might know that are more Jesus-oriented, that have found Him to be their peace, would love to chat more what that looks like. Not in the solving of commotion, but in the midst of the fear. What is it like when He shows up and says, peace be with you, and because He is there, peace is too. Thanks so much. Keep strong. Thinking about all you guys praying for you as we're out there in the midst of all this. All right, that's all I got. I don't know how to turn this off. Oh, got it. See ya.